old Negro spirit, though. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Estamos aquí hoy, señores, bienvenidos. Esta es una edición especial de nuestro programa GEEKLAB. No estamos en este momento en vivo porque queremos hacer, como les decía y reitero, una edición especial con un invitado de lujo. Un invitado de lujo que merece que el programa tenga un tratamiento diferente precisamente por cuestiones de lenguaje. Queremos hacerle un tratamiento especial al programa de hoy porque vamos a tener subtítulos. Vamos a hacer el programa con subtítulos porque nuestro invitado, el señor Matt Busch, no sé, Matt, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You speak any Spanish?
I understand a little bit.
Okay, but you're not very fluent.
No, I'm not.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Entonces, por eso les digo, muchachos, que el programa de hoy es especial. Uno, por el invitado. Dos, por el formato, porque vamos a tener subtítulos durante la transmisión del programa que, reitero, va a estar grabado. Entonces, primero que todo, les presento a mi compañero de trabajo, el señor Freddy Gómez.
Hola, hola, señores, ¿cómo están? Bueno, les traemos a ustedes este especial que vamos a hacer hoy para que estén pues, conectaditos, disfrutando pues, de la compañía de un invitado excelente, Matt Busch, que lo tenemos aquí. Ya por aquí apareció nuestro compañero Milton. Y pues a darle con toda pues al programa que estoy seguro que va a ser un súper exitoso pues con los fanáticos de Star Wars para que estén ahí conectados.
Excelente, excelente. Entonces, mientras llega nuestro compañero, el Yoda del lápiz, Milton Camargo. Ya llegó, pues no se ve en pantalla el ilustre caballero. No lo veo todavía en mi pantalla.
Activa el micrófono.
Ah, es que no, es que por Dios. Empecemos chismoseando sabrosito con Matt. Hablemos de cositas, hombre. Don Milton.
Hola, ¿cómo están?
¿Y a dónde está que no
Hi,
lo
Matt.
veo?
Nice to meet you.
Ahora sí. Hey. Hello, welcome, Don Yoda del lápiz.
Hello.
Welcome to GEEKLAB.
Ahora sí está el equipo
Bienvenidos
completo,
todos.
señores. Ahora sí, empezamos esta edición especial pues hoy. Bueno, my friend Matt, let's begin the program with a very simple question.
Sure.
Introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Matt Busch, and I am primarily known as an illustrator. I've had the pleasure of working on properties like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Indiana Jones, Stranger Things, a lot of them. It's been amazing. But also I've been branching out into filmmaking and enjoying that quite a bit. I actually got my start working storyboarding movies a long time ago. And I also teach locally here in the greater Detroit area of Michigan. And I teach classes like illustration and storyboarding.
Excelente. Bueno, entonces vamos a hacer la traducción correspondiente. Como dijo mi amigo Matt, tenemos a un ilustrador multifacético el día de hoy. Ilustrador reconocido primordialmente por trabajos con Star Wars, Stranger Things, Indiana Jones, y que también ha trabajado dentro del ámbito del storyboarding, y que también, obviamente, y para gusto mío, somos colegas porque somos profesores. Somos profesores de diferentes áreas, pero nos manejamos en el campo de la docencia. y que trabaja actualmente en el área de Detroit, donde se encuentra en estos momentos. Ok. Don Milton, don Freddy, don Milton, actíveme el micrófono si es tan amable. Y don Freddy,
Tiene activado el
preguntica,
micrófono.
don Freddy, si tiene preguntica, hágale mano.
Bueno, lo siguiente, personajes de Star Wars con el que más se identifica y con el que menos se identifica para el desarrollo de la ilustración.
Okay, Matt, so he wants to know which Star Wars character you feel most connected to, and what about that you have zero connection to in terms of creation development? So there are two questions in there. Let's begin with the first. Which Star Wars character you feel most connected to?
Gosh. It's a great question, Eddie. My favorite character is probably Han Solo, but my favorite to draw is probably Boba Fett.
Okay. Don Freddy lo felicita por su pregunta, que excelente pregunta, pero carajos, que qué cosa tan difícil, pero respondió lo siguiente aquí nuestro gran amigo Matt. Personaje favorito de él de Star Wars es Han Solo y personaje con el que él prefiere o al que él prefiere ilustrar siempre va a ser Boba Fett. Esa es dentro de esa primera parte. Now the second question, Matt, from Eddie. What is that character that you feel zero connection in terms of creation development from Star Wars?
Yeah. Do you mean like one that I just don't care for, that I don't find a connection with?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Gosh. Probably off the top of my head, it might be Jar Jar Binks. Perhaps.
Typical, the one that everybody, in a way, doesn't like too much.
Yeah, and I think the reason why it wasn't even so much the performance, but I feel the character. I feel like before that in Star Wars, you had characters that were funny because they were put in funny situations. So before that, like C-3PO was really funny, but C-3PO wasn't silly. He wasn't stupid on purpose. He was just put in situations that were really funny. Where Jar Jar was invented just to be silly and wacky, and I just feel like that didn't really fit Star Wars as much.
Okay. Aquí nuestro amigo Matt dice que en términos así de creación pues, de personajes, pues, con la dificultad que eso a veces representa, él se siente como con una conexión no tan buena o no tan positiva como las anteriores con los dos personajes que mencioné. Aquí él no siente una conexión como tal con el personaje de Jar Jar Binks. Recuerdan que ese personaje, como lo dice él en la saga, él lo dice que en la saga pues el personaje no fue, o la actuación del personaje no fue como la más bien recibida, y es precisamente porque, por ejemplo, él menciona a C-3PO y dice que C-3PO fue metido en unas situaciones como tal donde lo cómico a veces no era tan marcado ni era tan exagerado como le sucedió como sucedió con este Jar Jar Binks, que literalmente ya te pasaba de lo gracioso y ya de lo cómico en sus actuaciones en la película que todos vimos. Nuevamente, Don Milton tiene desactivada este macho. Freddy, ¿qué decías?
Sí.
Listo.
Jar Jar
Ahora
Binks
sí.
es el
Bueno.
personaje menos querido
Ahora
en
sí.
Star Wars.
Okay.
Sí, ya te escuchamos.
Milton, preguntica para nuestro amigo Matt, si tiene.
Bueno, la pregunta que siempre le hago a los ilustradores, en este caso Matt no se va a salvar de ella, es la influencia. ¿cuáles artistas son los que más han influenciado en el trabajo de él? O de pronto algún título que le haya gustado y se haya remarcado y que probablemente ahí como por los laditos vaya haciéndole pues como tenga el remanente en el trabajo de él. Es como eso, los artistas que lo han influenciado.
Okay. Matt, my friend Milton wants to know, you as an illustrator, who's your biggest influence?
Gosh, that's a great question, Milton. I would say probably over time, the greatest influence I've had is Drew Struzan, who illustrated a lot of the Star Wars movie posters and also Indiana Jones and all of that, especially during the time that I was in college. And the way that I got my start working on properties like Star Wars was because I could kind of mimic his technique to one degree or another. And so I was kind of like the poor man's Drew Struzan. So if there was a Star Wars licensee or a book company that couldn't afford Drew, they would hire me and they would ask me to make my signature really small so that people would think it was Drew Struzan, even though it wasn't. Hopefully my work has evolved since then so that people like my work for my work and not because it looks, similar to Drew Struzan. But Drew has always been a real big influence, and I've also met him a number of times, and super nice guy. And but it's just a really cool movie poster technique. A lot of the movie poster artists do work like that. It just has this really cool larger than life look that I just think is really cool. And so that was probably I have a lot of artists that I admire and that I follow, but Drew Struzan is probably number one.
Excuse me, but what was the last name? Struzan?
Struzan, yes.
Okay, Struzan.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me translate for Milton. So Milton, vea, aquí nuestro amigo Matt dice que una de sus grandes influencias dentro del campo de la ilustración es un ilustrador conocido por sus gráficos en Indiana Jones de nombre Drew Struzan. Lo ha conocido ya varias veces, ha tenido el honor y el placer de interactuar con él varias veces. Dice que es una persona muy amable, que es una persona con la que es muy bacano interactuar con él y que pues ha sentido una gran influencia también en su trabajo, en el trabajo de Matt como ilustrador, el trabajo precisamente que hace este ilustrador Drew Struzan de Indiana Jones. Freddy pregunta, espérame, yo hago una preguntita, yo le hago aquí una preguntita al señor Matt. Matt,
hágale pues, después de ti.
Let me ask you something, because okay, last Saturday we had an illustrator from Argentina in our program.
Okay.
And I asked the guy the question that I am going to ask you, but I want to know your opinion as well from this question. The same question that I asked him, I'm going to ask the question to you. But before asking the question, let me translate this in Spanish for the people.
Okay, sure.
Hace 8 días, acuérdense que tuvimos a un ilustrador argentino, Omar Francia. Yo le hice una pregunta a él que se la quiero reiterar aquí a Matt por el bagaje que Matt tiene dentro de los dos campos de la ilustración y dentro de la industria del cine. Quiero hacerle esta pregunta a Matt a ver cuál es la opinión que él tiene. So Matt, the question is simple. Look, what does determine the recognition or failure of a comic book or movie? La pregunta es muy sencilla, muchachos. ¿Qué determina el fracaso o el éxito de una tira cómica o de un cómic o de una película como tal? Esa es la pregunta que le hice a Matt ahí en inglés.
So, for me personally, that is really hard to answer because I'm a very positive person. And so I really try to take anytime I do something that fails, and that happens probably more than I let people know. It happens all the time. But the trick is, how do you take a failure and turn that around into something positive? So for me, I firmly believe that to learn something, you kind of need to fail first in order to really learn it. So even a little kid riding a bike, no kid rides a bike perfectly the first time. They keep falling, the scab knees, the tears and everything. But eventually they take what they're not doing right, and they find a way to make it work next time. So I feel like if I make a comic book story that I think everyone's going to love, and maybe it just doesn't do well, I could be really upset with myself and I could quit the business, or I could say, okay, what's not right here? Are people not digging this kind of character, or did I not market it right? And I try to learn from that failure. So I just try to be really positive, and I think failure is often a good thing in retrospect if you kind of look at it the right way. I know that's not the question you asked, but that's kind of why it's hard for me to kind of answer that question. I'm sure like for movies though, they will tell you that box office is what determines the failure. If a movie doesn't make a certain amount of money, or even a movie like Solo, the Star Wars story, that made more money than they spent making it. So I would consider that a great success, right? But it didn't make as much as they wanted to. And for a Star Wars film, it didn't make as much money. So Disney saw that as a failure.
That's why people consider it, exactly. That's why people consider that Han Solo was one of the worst movies in terms of earnings, for the company. And probably also in terms of I forgot the word, in terms of entertaining for people, because people thought that the movie was a little bit boring, in other words, in terms of acting from some of the actors in there. So let me translate your answer about this question. Entonces yo le pregunté a Matt qué determinaba el éxito y el fracaso de una tira cómica o de un comic book y de una película. Matt dice que es una respuesta difícil de dar porque literalmente las películas en el caso pues de películas, él menciona algo que es muy tradicional de todos nosotros. Cuando éramos niños aprendimos a montar bicicleta, pues no todos aprendimos de una sola vez, y a la primera vez que nos montamos a la bicicleta aprendimos perfectamente a dominar ese elemento de transporte. Todos nos caímos, nos raspamos, lloramos, pataleamos, lo que sea, pero seguimos y seguimos intentando hasta que dominamos el arte de montar bicicleta. Eso en ese asunto. Ya en lo que es películas, por ejemplo, Matt dice que una película, por ejemplo, como Han Solo, no recibió la cantidad que el estudio esperaba, que la cantidad de dinero que el estudio esperaba. Entonces, para el estudio, digámoslo así, esa película fue un fracaso como tal dentro del aspecto monetario. Ya ahí metí yo, como dice uno coloquialmente, la cucharada, y yo dije que también, entonces, en esa película, lo que se vio es que precisamente por no haber recibido esa cantidad de dinero que se esperaba de parte de la compañía, fue un fracaso, pero que también a la vez fue por problemas, muchas veces lo decían los fanáticos, problemas de las actuaciones de ciertos personajes, lo que no llenó las expectativas de estos. Entonces, para él, en términos generales, es muy complicado decir qué es o qué determina el éxito o el fracaso de algo como un cómic o una película. Él también menciona que, por ejemplo, él puede hacer un cómic y ver que la gente tiene una muy buena recepción del cómic, pero que él como artista no se siente totalmente satisfecho con lo que realizó de ese cómic. Entonces, para él, vuelvo y lo digo, es complicado dar una respuesta exacta a lo que determina o no el éxito o un fracaso de un cómic o de una película. Compañeros, no sé si alguno de ustedes tiene preguntas, si Milton o Freddy tiene pregunta.
Bueno,
Hola,
entonces
hola.
bueno, Milton, ¿vas a hacer la pregunta o la hago yo?
Hágale el que quiera,
No,
suéltelo.
hágale. Déjeme disparar a mí, pues, que
Déjeme disparar a mí. Hágale,
de
don
todas
Milton.
las piezas
¿A qué le
gráficas que
preguntas,
de
Milton?
hecho son muy buenas, son excelentes las piezas gráficas que ha diseñado Matt, que de hecho pues me gustan, personalmente me gusta bastante el trabajo de él. ¿Cuál ha sido la más divertida, la que más ha disfrutado realizar?
Okay. Matt, Milton, my friend, wants to know, because he says that all your pieces of work are amazing, incredible, fantastic. The way that you work is awesome for him and for all of us too. The way that you do things is unbelievable. But he wants to know what's for you that piece of work that you enjoyed the most doing.
A single piece of artwork that I've enjoyed doing the most.
Mm-hmm.
I would say off the top of my head, if there was one piece that I really enjoyed and I really feel just a connection to, that I really think was one of the coolest pieces I've done. I did a poster for the 20th anniversary of Dark Empire. And Dark Empire was a comic book that came out in the early 90s. It kind of rejuvenated interest in Star Wars because there wasn't much going on with Star Wars at the time. And I had just started college and I was really, really into comic books. I wanted to be a comic book artist. And when that comic book came out, it just changed my life. And so 20 years later, to do a poster, an official poster for Dark Empire, that just kind of blew me away. And that the comic covers that Dave Dorman did were incredible, but also the interior art by Cam Kennedy had these really beautiful, vivid, like watercolors that were just beautiful. And so with the poster that I did, I tried to make it look like a Star Wars poster, but also I really tried to infuse some of the really cool magentas and cyan colors that were in the book. And I'm pretty proud of that piece. I think I did it some justice, and I think the fans really enjoyed that as well.
Okay. Aquí mi amigo Matt dice que una de las piezas con las que él más disfrutó trabajar fue un póster que él realizó a mediados de los 90s para una serie de comic books que se llamaba Dark Empire. Disfrutó mucho trabajar con esa pieza porque cuando estaba en la universidad o cuando estaba en ese proceso universitario, él estaba también mucho con esa idea en su cabeza de ser un artista de libros de cómics y que veía el trabajo de otros artistas. Y entonces, y en ese momento no había todavía como mucha fuerza de Star Wars no estaba otra vez como muy fuerte que digamos. Entonces él quería volver a coger como ese asunto y entonces realizó este póster vuelvo y le digo, de Dark Empire y le quiso dar unos toques especiales, darle unos toques especiales con unos colores especiales y también a la vez usar la técnica de la acuarela que la usaba, perdón, que la usaba un artista. Espera un momento, yo le pregunto algo a Matt sobre esa pregunta, sobre la respuesta que él dio. Matt, in the answer that you gave, when you mentioned the watercolors and everything, and the magenta and everything. You mentioned one artist in a specific, right? The name of an artist.
Yeah, Cam Kennedy is his name. C-A-M Kennedy.
Ok, Cam Kennedy. Él menciona a Cam Kennedy y es ese artista el que hace que Matt tome esa influencia de colores y de acuarelas y todo eso para realizar ese póster que yo les digo de Dark Empire, que él se siente y que incluso todavía se siente muy orgulloso de ese trabajo que él realizó. Matt, I have a question, and I have a question before, because we have two sections in the program. One session is called Word of Mouth, and the other session is called Popcorn News. But today, because we have you, those two sections are going to have like a twist. We're going to make some changes. The changes are simple. When we are in those sections, we're going to have like quizzes, because you're a teacher, I am a teacher, so I am going to ask you some questions related to geek things. I want to check your knowledge.
Okay.
But before that, let me ask you, before going to the first section, let me ask you a question, but before that, let me translate again.
Okay.
Muchachos, le voy a hacer a Matt una pregunta. Pero antes de esa pregunta, también, y antes de que pasemos a la primera sección que se llama Word of Mouth, que hoy, en las dos sesiones que normalmente tenemos en el programa, hoy van a tener un cambio, van a tener un giro. Hoy vamos a hacerle a Matt, como él es profesor y yo también soy profe, vamos a hacerle unos pequeños quizzes de cultura geek a Matt, unas pequeñas preguntitas para ver su conocimiento sobre estos asunticos geeks que todos creemos saber. Pero antes de esa sesión, pasemos a la pregunta que yo le voy a hacer a Matt. Voy a hacer una pregunta a Matt. Matt, before we start this show, we were talking about the Comic-Con that we have here in Medellin. And remember that I told you that you're more than invited to come if you want to Medellin. You're more than invited. But my question is this. What's the future of these con events? San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con. What's the future of these con events based on this situation with coronavirus? Wait a minute, let me translate. Yo le pregunté a Matt que qué opinaba o cuál era el futuro de los eventos, de estas convenciones como la convención de San Diego y la de Nueva York, la Comic-Con San Diego y Comic-Con Nueva York, que cuál era el futuro de estos eventos de este estilo basado en lo que está pasando con el famoso coronavirus. Now, Matt, you can answer the question. Sorry.
No, that's cool. You know, it's so bizarre. It's such a strange time that we're in right now, and no one really knows. Everyone's asking the same questions because we really don't know how it's going to be. Obviously, San Diego Comic-Con was canceled. There's a big Star Wars show in August in California called Star Wars Celebration. That has not been canceled yet, but a lot of people are expecting that it probably will be canceled. And the thing that's interesting to me that I'm wondering is, even after this wave goes away, I'm just curious, what is the future? What's the future of these conventions going to be like? Because I know for me, I'm very personable with meeting people. I don't like to call them fans. I like to call them friends, because when they want to take a picture, I get in, I hug people, you know, I ham it up. I have a lot of fun. I try to make I mean, obviously I shake everyone's hand, but I try to, I just treat everyone like family, because we are like family. And that's one of the great things about these conventions. We all share this love for pop culture and for everything geeky. So what's that going to be like? Because I'll tell you what, right now, I probably wouldn't want to be chummy with everyone and like, hey, with strangers. So I'm just curious, like, it'll probably depend on if we're able to find a cure, or maybe just over time things will cool down and we'll get back to that place where it was like it was before. But it's a very interesting time, and I honestly don't know. I wish I had an answer for that, but
like a wand to say, okay, we have this, and let's go back to normal with those events. But let me ask you something else.
Yeah.
Did you read, or did you read something about this virtual Comic-Con that they are having in San Diego? Because, like you said, San Diego Comic-Con is canceled, but they are having an event that is called Comic-Con at Home in San Diego. So they're having the traditional SDCC in the traditional dates, but it's gonna be virtual. What do you think about that?
I think it's interesting. I was wondering if they were going to do something similar for Star Wars Celebration as well. I think it's possible. I think there's a lot of really cool things that you can do from home, and I think it's great that they are promoting artists and that artists can be involved. But it's interesting. It's interesting to see. Recently, Reed, which is one of the big conventions that do a lot of conventions around the world, actually, but they run the Star Wars Celebration, but they also do C2E2, if you've heard of that one, and some of the other big comic conventions, the New York City one. They did a thing that was interesting for Star Wars Day. They decided to have a virtual comic convention of sorts at home, but they did it for free, and they didn't have anything with artists. They just had authors, and they had some of the voices of some of the television shows. And I don't know how well it went over, because I heard when they announced it, but I didn't hear anyone participating or anyone excited to watch that. I think it was kind of a mistake, because they released that they did that on Star Wars Day on May 4th and May 5th. But there was already a lot of Star Wars stuff going on, because that's when Disney Plus put the new season of, they've got that new Mandalorian show and the new Rise of Skywalker movie they released that day. So I feel like the timing was maybe a little overload. And I think they were testing the waters for doing conventions online, but I think they did it so quick that if that was a test to see what they would do in the future, it wasn't, I don't think it was a very good test, because they didn't put a lot of time into getting that ready. I think virtual conventions could be so much more with a little more thought and a little more planning. So I'm interested to see what they do. In a way, I think it's kind of cool. And I'll wrap it up with this, but for artists, it's very difficult, because we have to, whenever there's a show, we have to travel there. A lot of times we are not paid to travel. We have to get a booth. A lot of times we have to pay for the booth. That booth, depending on the show, could be anywhere from $500 to $10,000, just depending on how big the show is. Then we have to pay for a place to stay. We have to pay for our prints to get there, and paper is really heavy. It could be hundreds of dollars just to ship stuff there. Anything we don't sell, we have to ship back. So it's really, really expensive for us artists to do these shows a lot of times. So the idea of doing one online, that's actually great for an artist like me. As much as I want to be there and meet with everyone, that means I don't have to pay for a hotel. I don't have to pay for a booth. I can sell my prints online, and it's just a lot more cost efficient to do it that way. So I'm very interested in the possibilities of that. At the same time, there's nothing like, meeting people in person and kind of having that fan interaction is really cool.
Okay, let me translate for these guys. Bueno, le pregunté a Matt que vuelvo y le reitero la pregunta, ¿cuál es el futuro de estos eventos como San Diego Comic Con, la Comic Con de Nueva York, basados en lo que está ocurriendo con esto del coronavirus o el COVID-19? Y la respuesta que él me da es que, primero, es muy difícil saberlo, es muy difícil saber cuál va a ser el futuro de estos eventos, precisamente porque pues todavía no se sabe de una cura, no se sabe de algo que dé una solución cercana o corta al problema que estamos viviendo, y que, por ejemplo, para él es un problema el que no haya estos eventos, porque él es una persona, él es un artista muy sociable, una persona que le gusta que cuando los fans le piden fotos, pues él obviamente accede inmediatamente a tomarse fotos con ellos, los abraza, los hace sentir como una familia, porque precisamente eso somos todos los que asistimos a estos eventos como San Diego Comic Con, la Comic Con de Nueva York, o las que nosotros tenemos aquí en Latinoamérica, la de Comic Con Colombia, la de Perú, la de Ecuador, la de Brasil, la de México. Para él es muy difícil por ser tan sociable, entonces él dice, bueno, ya la próxima vez que vaya a haber un evento como tal de estos, yo ya no sé si voy a ser tan sociable, si voy a abrazar a todo el mundo, o voy a ser un poquito distante y toda la vaina, carachas, entonces no sé qué voy a hacer. Y ya luego le pregunté que si sabía o había escuchado que la Comic Con de San Diego va a ser de todas formas una versión online en las mismas fechas que normalmente maneja el evento presencialmente. Él me dice que pues que también eso sería muy bueno, que se hiciera, y que también sería a la vez muy bueno que, por ejemplo, la Star Wars Celebration que se está planeando o que se planeó, pero que por cuestiones nuevamente de este coronavirus no se puede hacer, que estaba planeada para hacer en Anaheim. Entonces él dice que sí sería bueno que esa parte virtual o esa parte online se hiciera, pero que para un artista como él, para un ilustrador como él, es complicado, porque es que él necesita, o para ellos es necesario de esa interacción con la gente, pero que a la vez es también, digámoslo así, negativo el estar ahí, porque a veces para ellos el estar allá, los módulos que a ellos les facilitan, dependiendo de la convención, pueden abarcar costos desde los $500 hasta los $10,000 por módulo y todo eso, y por tamaño y toda la vaina. Entonces, para él eso también, y todo el manejo, y todo lo que es el transporte de materiales, todo lo de compras de equipos y de cosas, lo que no se venda, pues él tiene que devolverse con todo eso. Entonces, para él es muy complicado desde ese ámbito, pues como tal. Esa fue como la respuesta, pues, que nos facilitó aquí Matt con esta pregunta. No sé si Milton o Freddy tengan una pregunta antes de que pasemos a la primera sección de Word of Mouth. No sé si Milton o Eddie tienen alguna otra pregunta.
Pues no sé, ¿qué tiempo tenemos para pasar a la sección de noticias?
Milton, Freddy, ¿decías?
Bueno, digamos que hay una pregunta que también considero que es un poquito extensa, entonces estaba preguntando qué tiempo tenemos para pasar a la sección de noticias.
Pero si me puedes dar la pregunta, dale tranquilo, yo se la comunico a él.
Ahora, digamos que vemos un recorrido bastante largo y lleno de experiencias en la trayectoria de Matt Booth. Entonces, digamos que como ilustrador de Star Wars y otras funciones, no esperábamos que el mundo tuviera un giro tan radical y repentino a causa de la contingencia sanitaria. ¿Qué conclusión sacamos de manera positiva para las nuevas generaciones en el campo de la ilustración que apenas están comenzando en un mundo que está generando cambios?
Okay. Okay. So let me look the question here. Okay, Matt. So here I have this question from Freddy. Star Wars was a reference for many generations, which has had a huge success for kids and adults. And today with these new options, and for example, options that you mentioned before, like Mandalorian, new Star Wars movies, and everything, new characters, new stories, how can this influence in today's kids compared to its beginnings? And the other thing is, for example, is Star Wars nowadays weaker or stronger?
That's a great question, Eddie. I think the big difference, but the positive for both, when I was a kid growing up, and maybe for you guys as well, when Star Wars came out, there was nothing like it. I mean, people can say it's kind of like Flash Gordon or this and that, but just the scope of it, how big it was and how amazing it was, the visual effects were amazing. The story that inspired people was amazing. The philosophy behind the Force was amazing. So there was clearly nothing like it that had come before. So part of me thinks it was way bigger for us and it'll never be like that again. But the one thing that is really cool about today, I don't have children yet, maybe someday, but I imagine for kids that grow up now that are into Star Wars to be able to share that with their parents, it becomes more of a family thing. I didn't really have that with my parents. Not that my parents were like, what is this, Star Wars? But, they didn't grow up with it like I did. So it wasn't something that I really was able to share with my parents, where now, because it is multi-generational, it's something that families can really share in, and seeing that excitement at comic conventions where you see entire families dressed up like, a family of stormtroopers, and there's like a cute little one, like a little kid, it's just awesome. It's really neat to see. And I would say Star Wars is probably bigger than it's ever been. I feel like for me, and because I'm always trying to channel that feeling I had when I was a kid, just that larger than life, that childlike sense of wonderment that Star Wars gave me when I was a kid. I'm always, trying to tap into that. But I would say Star Wars is definitely bigger than it's ever been, which is great. I love it.
Cool. So let me translate. Matt dice que obviamente cuando Star Wars salió al cine o fue lanzado en el cine, no había nada como Star Wars antes. Y la gente puede decir, que Flash Gordon, que esto, que el otro. No. No había nada como Star Wars en el ámbito del cine, y que eso cambió generaciones. Y que eso cambió las generaciones. O sea, en generaciones como la de Matt y generaciones como la de nosotros. Que hay una gran diferencia con las generaciones de hoy y usando Star Wars. Lo que él dijo fue que cuando él vio a Star Wars por primera vez, pues él no tenía alguien con quien compartir lo que él sentía viendo Star Wars. Cosa que pasa hoy en día, como dice él, que los pelados de hoy en día ya cuando crezcan van a poder seguir compartiendo eso y van a poder hablarlo con los padres de hoy, con los padres de ellos hoy, porque a diferencia de los padres de Matt, ellos no crecieron Ellos no crecieron viendo Star Wars. En cambio, los padres de hoy sí tienen en su mente Star Wars de una u otra forma. Entonces, él dice que Star Wars en cierta manera está mucho más fuerte que lo que había antes. Es por ese asunto, como él menciona, multigeneracional, que es esa gran diferencia de la generación de él a la de hoy. Esa diferencia entre el poder compartir esas experiencias y esas cosas con la familia, con los padres y hablar de esto, porque vuelvo y lo reitero, él no tuvo esa oportunidad cuando Star Wars salió al cine. Pasemos a la primera sesión del programa llamada Word of Mouth Special Edition. Bueno, ok, entonces vamos a empezar. Como les digo, vamos a tener una edición hoy especial de la primera sesión que se llama Word of Mouth. Como tenemos a este gran invitado, esta persona tan genial que es Matt, que la estamos conociendo hoy, muchos por primera vez y que nos ha dejado muy satisfechos su manera de ser y obviamente también desde la parte artística su trabajo es muy bueno. Hoy quisimos hacer esta sesión de Word of Mouth de una manera especial. Como lo dije antes, Matt es profesor, él lo comentó también en la primera pregunta que le hice el programa, él es profesor de ilustración en una institución allá en el área de Detroit. Yo también soy profesor, entonces de mi parte hoy quiero probarle los conocimientos a nuestro invitado con diferentes preguntitas del mundo geek. Okay, Matt, let's begin the first quiz in this session that is word of mouth. Okay, first question. Princess Leia is princess of which planet?
Alderaan.
Ding, 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 ding. Winner! Excellent. Awesome. This guy knows. This guy knows. He's good. Okay. Question number 2. What was the 1977 Star Wars film retitled?
A New Hope. Oh, well, Star Wars, A New Hope.
Exactly. Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. The best movie for me, one of the best movies of the Star Wars saga. Question number 3. What are Shiriwook, Tikran, and Saxi?
Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh, that's amazing.
5, 4, 3, 2,
They're
1.
not. Are they Wookiees?
Oh, close! You missed but okay. What related to Wookiees?
Ewoks?
Ooh, no! You were close, but no, my friend. The answer is languages.
Oh, those were languages?
Those are the languages.
Oh.
Those are the languages of the Wookiees.
Oh, okay. All right. I knew I recognized it somewhere there. Darn, I just lost my Star Wars street cred. Milton, that is awesome.
Oh my God.
That is so cool.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Next question. Question number 4. From which planet did Darth Maul originate?
Oh,
5.
it might be oh gosh.
4.
It's not Dathomir, but it's close to
3.
Dathomir. Is it Dathomir?
No.
Oh, okay. I forget. If you said it, I would know it. I forgot it.
Oh my gosh! Incorrect! No more Star Wars badges for you.
Oh no.
Irridonia.
What is it?
Irridonia.
Oh no, I guess I didn't know that. Wow.
Okay, the next question is piece of cake, my friend. It's extremely easy. Which number order brought about the destruction of the Jedi Knights?
66.
Yeah! Ding, 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 ding. And question number 6. What term is used for Force users who may use both the light and the dark sides of the Force?
Is that gray Jedi? Is that what they
Yeah! Winner, chicken dinner. Oh my goodness, man. You were correct in that answer, my friend. Ding, 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 ding. And that, my friends. Y así, amigos, hemos llegado al final de la primera sesión Word of Mouth Special Edition. Llegamos a al final de la sesión de Word of Mouth. Ahora seguimos con las preguntas. Milton, Eddie, pregunticas.
Yo sí quiero preguntar.
Milton, ¿qué?
Bueno, ahorita ya terminé la caricatura, él ya más o menos la vio. La vamos a compartir ahorita en redes, pues, para que él también la pueda tener.
Ok. So, Matt,
una pregunta.
Wait, le traduzco a Matt. Matt, were you able to, while the questions, the quiz, were you able to check the image on the screen?
No.
Your cartoon?
Oh, yeah, I was. It was amazing. Oh, my gosh.
Later on, that cartoon will be available for you to share. Milton or I will send it to you.
Okay.
And you will be able to share your portrait in your social networks.
I can't wait.
Okay, buddy, okay. So, Milton, ahora sí, preguntica, mi amigo, hágale.
Bueno, él hace poco, la última producción, pues así en cine, que él estaba desarrollando, que él dirigió, fue Aladdin 3477. Fue la película, pues, que él trabajó últimamente. Esta película tendrá alguna secuencia, de pronto también en película, o de pronto veremos algo de Aladdin 3477 en algún cómic.
Okay, Matt, before we began the show, remember that I asked you about new projects and stuff like that? And you also mentioned that you work in Aladdin 3477?
Yes.
Okay. Will this production have an audiovisual sequel or a comic? Is in the process of doing that?
That's a great question. I would love for there to be all kinds of commercial tie-ins. I would love for there to be a video game and everything else. There's 3 movies and we finished filming all 3 movies. So they're in post-production right now, working on the visual effects. It's looking amazing. And I really feel that this is a really cool intellectual property, like a brand that could be, there could be comic books, there could be manga, there could be all kinds of stuff. And because I created it, I almost feel too close to home for me to do any of the comics. But I would love to see what other people do, continuing the stories of these characters. And it's so much larger than the Aladdin story that we know. The scope of it is more like Lord of the Rings, where there's just so many new characters and robots and all kinds of really cool, just really cool scenarios that I think would be really cool. I would love to see it translated into comics for sure.
Okay. Le encantaría, le fascinaría que ese trabajo fuese llevado a los cómics. De hecho, habla de que hay 3 películas que ya están en proceso de postproducción y que le gustaría que eso incluso fuese llevado al ámbito de los videojuegos. Le encantaría ver esa vaina o esa obra o ese trabajo desde lo comercial, de todo lo posible que se pudiera hacer con ella, porque tiene mucho por dónde abarcar, mucho por dónde hacerse, y que se siente muy, muy satisfecho pues, por el trabajo que se ha hecho con ella. Esa fue la respuesta de nuestro amigo Matt. Matt, I have a question. Okay, not a general culture question. Okay, don't worry. That part is over for now. For now.
Okay.
The second round is next. Don't worry. Tengo otra pregunta para Matt a hacerle aquí. You told me that you work in comic book industry and you work in film industry.
Yes.
The question is, one element that is very common in both areas is working under the gun. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with pressure? Let me okay. Translate. Le pregunté, sorry about that.
Oh, it's
okay. Le pregunté a Matt que él trabaja en dos áreas muy comunes, la industria del cómic y la industria fílmica. Y en ambas áreas es muy común trabajar bajo presión por las cuestiones de los famosos plazos y todo eso que se les da. Entonces le pregunté que cómo lidiaba él con ese asunto de la presión. ¿Ok? Esa es la pregunta. Matt, you can answer, my friend. So how do you deal with pressure?
Yeah. So everyone has their vices, and I've never been into like drugs or anything like that, but my vices have always been delicious, sugary foods. So anytime I know that I need to stay up all night to finish a deadline, something's due in the morning, I know I can run to my local 7-Eleven, I can get a Slurpee, I can get a bag of combos and like a candy bar or Ho-Hos, and I'm up for the night. I've got the energy and I can get right through it. So that's my vice, unfortunately. Now that I'm getting older, it's catching up with me. But
oh my God, buddy, I want to work with you. Not because of the comic and some, no.
You want to
because
come
of the
hang
food.
out and have
It's because of the food. I want to go to your house and work, but because of the food, man.
That's right.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me translate.
All right.
Todo el mundo, él dice que todo el mundo tiene unos vicios y unas vainas y unas cositas con las que vivir. Pero aclaremos, que no tiene nada que ver con drogas ni nada de ese asunto. Que cuando él tiene esa presión de plazo para entregar un trabajo, para entregar algo, él es muy fanático de las cosas dulces. Entonces él, cuando tiene esa ansiedad o ese problema por entregar algo y lo necesita rápido, entonces él, literalmente él corre él mencionó un lugar que en Estados Unidos es muy común que se llama el 7-Eleven. El 7-Eleven son como unas pequeñas tiendas donde la gente va y compra cositas y puede seguir el camino. Entonces él va a esa tienda local, se compra decir, un refresco, se compra algo dulce, como algo dulce para comer, va a su casa, se lo come y ahí sí tiene toda la energía para poder relajarse, ya está relajadito y poder seguir trabajando y entregar su trabajo a tiempo. Y le dije que si necesitaba algún asistente, no para el trabajo como tal desde la parte gráfica, sino un asistente para el asunto gastronómico, que podía contar conmigo, que yo le colaboraba con todo el asunto de la comida de Estados Unidos, que yo puedo ayudarle tranquilamente con eso. Ok. Milton, Eddie, ¿pregunticas o no? ¿O sigo yo con otra?
No, digamos que en base a lo que yo he visto de Matt en sus videos de YouTube, veo que interpreta a este famosísimo personaje Bob Ross. ¿Qué otro personaje le gustaría interpretar del medio artístico para aplicarlo pues a lo que él hace? Pues de una manera como muy cómica, muy divertida.
Pero, volveme a repetir la pregunta, volveme a repetir que no entendí unas partes como por cuestión de audio. ¿Qué?
Se te está entrecortando, ¿qué, Mauro?
Un poquito, pero perdí un poquitico, entonces por eso necesito que me repitas la pregunta ahí, que no entendí algo.
¿Cómo me escucha? Bien.
Ahí sí,
¿Sí me está
hágale,
escuchando bien?
suéltela.
Ah, bueno, veo que en una de las, digamos que de las presentaciones que hace Matt Booth en YouTube, vi que interpretó este personaje, Bob Ross, un artista muy conocido, muy querido por grandes y chicos. ¿Qué otro artista interpretaría él de manera cómica y divertida, aplicándolo pues a sus trabajos?
Okay, so Matt, my friend Eddie, he says that in one of your videos you played like a very famous artist whose name is like Bob Rock or something like that in a very funny way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he wants to know if it's possible for you to play a different character in a near future in that funny way, or which character would you like to play in a funny way in the near future?
Gosh. Yeah, I had so much fun doing that. And you know what? I would, if there were more artists that were big personas like that, like everyone, I feel like a lot of people know who Bob Ross is, you know, with the happy little trees, and he's got the afro and everything. But there aren't really a lot of artists to impersonate or to kind of do. So if there was, I would be all about it. But maybe you guys should give me some ideas. Are there some people I could try to channel into doing some kind of art video, but where I'm acting like someone else?
Okay. Dice que le encantó pues hacer esa personificación del famoso Bob Ross, que se sintió muy bien con eso, y que de hecho le queda difícil en este momento pensar un artista como para hacer una nueva versión, pero que les pide sugerencias que ustedes pueden decirle al hombre, proponerle artistas para que él haga, porque pues él dice, o sea, hay tantas grandes personalidades, pero que en este momento le queda como complicado decir una, y entonces, bro, necesita sugerencias de parte de ustedes para hacer una nueva personificación. Eso fue lo que contestó nuestro invitado de hoy, Matt. Matt, I have a question.
¿Qué sugerencia le harían ustedes?
Me, with his physical appearance and everything.
Yo haría de pronto un Miguel Ángel.
Milton, sugerencias para Don Matt, para hacer un nuevo personaje.
Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh, there you go.
You see, you can do Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh, all right.
You can perform. You can play Leonardo da Vinci next time with the goatee and everything.
Yeah.
Nice. Ooh,
Okay.
Cool. That's nice. Matt,
With the suite. With the suite.
Sweet.
Matt, I have a question.
Yes.
Before we go to the next session, the popcorn news, but later on, last week I read in the news that there's a new director for a new Star Wars movie. The new director is the famous person known for the very, very famous movie Yo-Yo Rabbit.
Yes.
This guy was selected to be the new director of a new Star Wars film.
Yes.
Why do you think that they chose this guy? Maybe because they were tired J.J. Abrams, the way that he was taking the movies, or they were looking for new ideas, new crazy arguments with Star Wars, new anything. I don't know. What do you think of this decision? Let me translate, please.
Sure, sure.
Yo le pregunté a Matt qué pensaba de la nueva selección que hicieron del director de Jojo Rabbit para estar a cargo de la nueva película de Star Wars, que por qué se hizo ese movimiento, si es porque de pronto la gente de Disney, por el estilo, estaba ya, digámoslo así, cansados de la línea que estaba llevando J.J. Abrams, o porque que, quieren que este caballero le dé un nuevo rumbo, una nueva dinámica a la película. Esa fue mi pregunta. Matt, so what's your answer for that decision?
I don't know that I could speak to why Lucasfilm selected Taika Waititi, but I think he's fantastic. I love, some might be worried that he might be too funny for Star Wars and maybe infuse too much humor.
Too much sarcasm.
Yeah, but we don't yet even know what the movie is. This could be brand new characters. This could be, we don't know if this is if we'll even know anyone. Will this even have Jedi Knights? This could be some offshoot movie that's set in the Star Wars universe. We don't really know what it is, but I for one am very excited to see what he does. I think for Star Wars to grow from here, I think they need to take some chances. I think they need to do some things a little off the beaten path. And I think, obviously, Taika Waititi is a very capable filmmaker. He's a very capable storyteller. And, you know, Star Wars movies are funny, too. There's lots of moments, even in the best of them, that are just laugh out loud funny. So I'm all about it. I think it's fantastic. And seeing a movie like Thor Ragnarok, I think he did a great job with that, where it's funny, but it also has action and intense moments. So clearly he loves Star Wars, and he did a great job directing the last episode of Mandalorian. So I'm all about it.
So yeah. maybe it's because of that. Maybe because the way that he directed the Mandalorian, the final episode, that he was selected for this new job doing the new Star Wars film. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Bueno, let me translate. Matt está súper emocionado con la selección de Taika Waititi, del director de Jojo Rabbit, para esta nueva película. De pronto él también dice que la gente podrá estar algo nerviosa porque esta persona, este director, digámoslo así, puede darle un toque demasiado humorístico a la nueva película, pero que no se sabe. No se sabe cuál va a ser la dinámica, cuál va a ser ese rumbo que va a tomar. Obviamente es un director muy creativo, muy buen director, lo dice Matt, y que, como muchos saben, precisamente el director de Jojo Rabbit estuvo a cargo de la dirección del último episodio de la primera temporada de The Mandalorian, de la serie de Disney Plus, la serie The Mandalorian. Él estuvo a cargo de la dirección y fue un muy buen episodio, se dice. Y entonces le preguntaba yo a Matt que de pronto fue por eso que también lo escogieron, por esa forma en que trató ese último episodio, que la gente de Disney dijo, no, cojamos a este caballero, traigámoslo y que nos dirija una nueva película. Pero reitero lo que dice Matt, no sabemos cuál va a ser ese rumbo que va a tomar la nueva película. Y que Matt también lo dice, Star Wars necesitan arriesgarse, hacer nuevas cosas para ver hacia dónde va a ir, porque también Matt lo dice, no se sabe si en la nueva película van a haber elementos nuevos, personajes nuevos, van a desaparecer personajes, lo que sea, pero que está muy entusiasmado por esa selección que se hizo, por esa selección de Taika Waititi, como el director de Jojo Rabbit. Okay, Matt, I have a question. Mm, let me see. Where is the question that I have? Ah, come on. Okay. I'm going to steal one of Milton's questions. Me voy a robar una de las preguntas de Milton. Sorry, Milton, ahí me perdona que me le robe una preguntita, man.
Hágale, dispare,
Okay, so
dispare, man.
I'm going to steal one of Milton's questions. Matt, where do you feel more comfortable working? Comic book industry or film industry?
By comfortable, do you mean where do I feel more respected, comfortable, or what do I just love doing and feel comfortable that way?
The second option in your response.
I would say I actually like comics and drawing is a little bit more comfortable for a number of reasons, but I would say the biggest of which, when you're doing comics, for the most part, it's a smaller group of people, and you can create, or some artists will write and they'll draw the entire comic themselves, and there's not a lot of other people that you are relying on. Where making movies, it's a huge group effort, which is great, but at least for independent filmmaking, if I want to shoot a scene over a weekend, if one person can't make it, we can't do it. You know, we're screwed. Where when you're working on a comic book, it's such a smaller, more intimate project. You're kind of in charge of your own destiny. And so I feel like when you're doing a comic, it can be as great or as small as you choose to make it. I feel like you have a lot more freedom. There's just a lot less people that you are relying on for help. So for that alone, I think comics is just a much easier way to express yourself.
Ok, entonces antes de que pasemos a la segunda sección, voy a responder lo que se le hizo a Matt. Matt dice que él prefiere trabajar, él se siente más cómodo con el área o en la industria del cómic, por una muy sencilla razón, la cantidad de personas que están envueltas en el proceso. Él dice que en la industria fílmica hay demasiada gente y que si una persona falta, se afecta toda la producción de una película. Se tiene que detener la producción de una película. Hay más independencia. Él trabaja tranquilamente, él puede hacer sus cosas y ya después las entrega y listo. Ahí no hay manera de que se pare algo por cuestiones de la cantidad de personas. Esa es, pues, en términos generales, la respuesta que Matt nos brindó con respecto a qué área o en qué área se siente él más cómodo, si en la industria fílmica o en la industria del cómic. Bueno, pasamos entonces a nuestra segunda sesión llamada Popcorn News, nuevamente edición especial. Okay, my friend Matt.
Yes.
Here we go with the second session, Popcorn News, but in this case, a special edition because you are invited today. And again, we have quiz number 2. I am going to ask you more questions, my dear colleague, my dear teacher. But in this case, movie-related questions.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's begin. What year was the first Toy Story released in theaters?
Off the top of my head, 95.
95.
Is it 95?
Final answer?
Yeah, 95.
Ding, 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 ding.
Woohoo!
Yay! Winner!
Nice.
Correct!
Yeah.
Number 1 is correct.
All
Okay,
right.
let's go to number 2. Which actress is the voice of Elastigirl in The Incredibles?
Oh,
5,
oh gosh.
4,
It's not Jodie Foster, but she has a
3.
similar voice. Is it Jodie Foster? It's not.
No! Okay, continue. I'm going to give you one more chance.
I forget. I forget. I know the voice.
The name of the actress is Holly Hunter.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I was going to say Laura Linney, but Holly Hunter. That's
Holly Hunter was the name of the actress responsible for the voice of Elastigirl. Okay, this is good for you because this is your area. Because you mentioned Lord of the Rings before.
Mm-hmm.
So, which actor broke 2 toes while filming The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers?
Can I phone it in?
Uh-huh.
Hey, Casey.
He's cheating. He's cheating. Está pasteleando, señora, está pasteleando.
Casey.
He's cheating. Oh my God. Okay.
My girlfriend, she must not be able to hear me. She's the biggest Lord of the Rings fan in the world. Let's see.
And she's there with you? Is she there with you?
I thought she was upstairs, but apparently she can't hear me. Let's see. Gosh. Broke toes.
2 toes. 5.
Gosh.
4. 3.
I'm going to say Orlando Bloom.
And incorrect. Unfortunately, you're going to have problems with your girlfriend, my good friend Matt. Sorry for you, but the correct answer is Viggo Mortensen.
Oh, okay. That was going to be my next. Just guess, like who would break their. Probably.
Sorry, my friend, but your girlfriend is going to be extremely unhappy with you.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Question number 4. What's the first word spoken in Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back?
Oh gosh.
5.
Is it hey?
Isn't
it?
I'm going to give you. Okay, I'm going to give you a second chance.
Yeah, I thought it was like, hey, Han, old buddy, you read me?
No.
Oh gosh.
One last chance.
You're not talking about the words that go back in space. You mean dialogue, like that someone.
Yeah, dialogue.
Gosh.
5, 4.
Oh, Echo.
Yeah!
Thank you for that.
Got it, boy. Okay, this is easy. It's a piece of cake, my friend. This is very easy. Who was the director of the movie The Rock?
Oh, Michael Bay.
Yeah, excellent. Also known for Transformers.
Yeah,
and many others.
We went to the same college. He also went to Art Center in Los Angeles.
Cool. Awesome. Excellent. Okay, my friend. And the final question of the second quiz of this popcorn news today is this. What's the name of the second James Bond movie?
Oh, the second one that came out,
Mm-hmm.
was it Thunderball?
No.
It wasn't? Okay, let's see. Dr. No was the first one. From Russia with Love?
Yeah, exactly, my friend. Oh my God, you're very good at this, man.
Oh, I
Oh
hope
my
so.
gosh. Except the one from Lord of the Rings that you're not going to have a
Yeah.
girlfriend anymore. Okay, I see. Cool, cool, my friend. Bueno, Milton, Freddy, ¿alguna otra pregunta o vamos cerrando esta vaina?
Una última pregunta.
Hágale,
Tengo la última pregunta y ya.
hágale, hágale.
La serie de Hollywood Dead. La serie
ya.
de Hollywood Dead es una serie de ilustraciones de los pósters más icónicos de las películas que Matt las convirtió en zombies. ¿Cómo fue la iniciativa? ¿Cómo fue la historia? ¿Y cómo recibió esta propuesta las casas productoras de estas películas?
Okay, Matt. Milton wants to know this, or is going to ask you about this. Hollywood Dead is a series of illustrations of the most iconic turned into zombie movies from Hollywood. And what was the process like? How did the production companies receive the idea? And finally, what about the audience? What was the reaction from the audience?
Well, the reaction was great. I was actually first asked to do the Star Wars posters to zombify them. And then that went over really well. And everyone just wanted to see me do like zombie Indiana Jones and zombie E.T. So I just started doing them on my own. And because they're parody, you don't really have to ask for permission. I would change the names. So I wouldn't call it Star Wars Zombies, because that's Star Wars. So I would just call it Zombie Wars. So I would kind of change the names for everything, kind of like Mad Magazine, just kind of, making it funny. And it was really, it was just a lot of fun to do. And what my process was, I would try to find movie posters that I really loved, because I'm just a movie poster buff, and I wanted to kind of look at a lot of the great masters and just kind of duplicate what they did and kind of learn from that. That was what was really fun for me. But there had to also be, a funny title. So there was lots of posters that I wanted to do, but if I couldn't think of a funny twist for the name, like a zombified name, then I couldn't do a poster for it. So Toy Story was very easy because Toy Gory, right? But for example,
Anomaly.
What's that?
Anomaly.
Yes, Anomaly. Yeah.
Amelie changed with Anomaly.
Yeah. So I thought that was good. One that I wanted to do that I didn't get to do was Gremlins. I wanted to do one for Gremlins, the little box with Gizmo coming out. I wanted to do a Hollywood is Dead one for that, but I couldn't think of a good title. Like Gremlins, Zemlins, like there's no, I couldn't think of a good twist for that one. So that one didn't make it.
Okay.
And then I have a question for Milton. So I realized halfway through that Milton was drawing me, and I think I've seen before that Milton usually draws the guest, which is super cool. Has anyone ever drawn Milton before on the show? Have any of your guests drawn Milton?
No. Have you? Did you do it?
Halfway through, I thought it would be funny.
Yeah! Holy smokes! Oh my gosh! That's awesome!
Great.
Holy smokes, man! That's amazing!
Thanks.
I happened to have a sheet of paper here and a Sharpie, and so I just started scribbling it down.
Holy smokes!
Thanks.
I'll send a picture of
Unbelievable,
that
man.
on
Thanks very much.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Okay, so let's
Thanks. Great.
let's translate the answer. Lo que dice Matt es que por cuestiones de nombres de las diferentes películas y todo eso, era un poquito complicado por los asuntos de derechos hacer los diferentes cambios de nombres. Por ejemplo, el cambio de Star Wars se le quedaba un poquito complicado. Pudo hacer quería hacer el de los Gremlins, pero para él fue complicado, difícil sacar un nombre con ese nombre de los Gremlins. Mencionó obviamente Toy Story, ahí fue más fácil para él, pero era más que todo ese asunto por derechos de nombres lo que le complicaba a él sacar todo ese asunto, pero en términos generales se sintió bien haciendo esa serie de Hollywood, Hollywood Dead. Y obviamente luego me hace la pregunta que si alguien durante el transcurso de los programas que llevamos se había atrevido a dibujar a Milton. Y obviamente yo le respondí que no, y que él tenía la facilidad, tuvo la facilidad de tener una hoja de papel y un Sharpie, y que durante el tiempo en que yo hacía las traducciones de las preguntas y de las respuestas, él hacía el dibujo de Milton, y obviamente ahí salió la obra maestra de nuestro amigo el Yoda del lápiz, Milton Camargo. Ok.
No, hombre.
Oh, no, una cosa genial, eso estuvo tremendo.
No,
Matt, in
muchas
order to
gracias.
finish, Matt, Milton is extremely happy with that piece of work that you did. Oh my God, that's awesome. If you come to Colombia, I need to have one art from you.
Awesome.
I need a portrait of me made from you.
Okay.
Oh my God, it's amazing, man. It's awesome. Because I have many made from Milton of myself, but
okay.
I need one from you, man. It's awesome the way that it looks. So Matt, before we go, your social networks.
Yes.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Yeah. Well, you can find everything on mattbusch.com, which is just, my website. And then Instagram is just Matt_Busch_Instagram. My Facebook is facebook.com/MattBuschArt, I think. And then my Twitter is Matt_Busch. And I believe my YouTube channel is just Matt Busch, I think.
Okay, so let me translate. A Matt lo pueden seguir principalmente en su página web mattbusch.com. Lo pueden seguir también en Instagram como Matt what was Matt? Okay, Matt_Busch Instagram. Eso es en Instagram. Está también en Twitter, está como Matt_Busch, si mi memoria no me falla con el inglés, ahí me perdonan, no parece, ok. Y también tiene canal de YouTube, que si mi memoria no me falla con la traducción, es también Matt Busch, si no estoy mal. Matt, is it correct? The YouTube channel is Matt Busch?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
You'll be able to find it, I'm sure.
Okay, no problem. You can also, if you want, you can also follow our social networks. We can later give you that information to you. The website for GEEKLAB and our own social networks for you to follow. Matt, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. It's been one of the best shows we ever had so far in
Awesome.
GEEKLAB, from Milton, from Eddie, and myself. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here. You're an amazing person. You're a great artist. It's been a lot of fun talking to you. We hope to have you here in Colombia in the near future. And probably we will invite you again to the show.
Awesome.
Because there's so many things to talk about with you. So probably we will invite you again because it's
Awesome.
been an amazing show. Thank you very much once again. Para todos los que nos vieron, pues como les digo, no, hoy no estuvimos en vivo, pero para todos los que están viendo este programa que fue grabado, tuvimos el placer y el honor de tener a Matt Busch hoy en el programa. Fue uno de los programas más deliciosos que hemos podido tener. Espero de corazón y de parte del equipo, de parte de Milton, de Freddy y de mi persona, lo hayan disfrutado y nos vemos en una próxima ocasión en GEEKLAB. Thank you, my friend Matt. Thank you for coming. Keep up the good work. Stay safe at home with your girlfriend during this situation, and we stay tuned, okay?
Awesome.
Stay in touch.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, no, you're very welcome, my friend. Thank you very much. A todos, chaolín, chaolín, pum, pum, nos fuimos. Chao y gracias.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
No,
That was a
no,
lot of
thank
fun.
you. Oh, it was amazing. Did you like the quizzes?
It was, yeah. You kept me on my toes.
Okay. Hey, what about that piece of work for Milton? How are you going to send that to Milton?
Well, I'm going to take a photo of it. I'll take a nice photo, and then I'll.
That's
and
cool,
then
man.
you can do
That's
a screen
awesome.
capture right here too.
Yeah, that's
Ahora
awesome.
pusieron el link.
Oh, that's a piece of work. That is an amazing piece of work.
Thanks, Matt.
No,
very
no,
much.
no. Matt, once again, thank you, my friend. It's been a pleasure talking to you. It's been a pleasure talking to you, okay?
Wait, when all of this blows over, I'm going to come to Colombia, and I want to hang out with you guys. I want you guys to show me all the cool places.
Of course, we'll be tour guides for you. Don't worry.
Right. Awesome.
Just be here. As soon as you're here, give us a call or send us a message or whatever, and immediately we set up something, and we will be your tour guides in Colombia.
Yeah. Awesome.
And we will have some beer and some great food and everything.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay, Matt. Thanks a lot once again, buddy. And stay, like I say, stay safe, buddy, okay?
You guys too. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome, buddy. Take care.
All right. See you guys.
See ya, my friend. See ya.
When we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be